Hello and good evening and welcome to episode 4 of Curry and Dice with Adam and Tim.
Bonjour.
Ooh, very continental, very
Art de la guerre. Yeah.
Do you think it should be, because it's quite, it's not quite interesting, I'm just talking because it's a podcast, but some people refer to it as ADG, some people refer to it as ADLG, and other people haven't really worked out this whole acronym thing and just call it Art de la guerre.
Well, I'm a bit conflicted because Art de la guerre sounds good. You know what I mean? It's like this. It's got that sort of like French thing going on. But for your acronym, I think ADLG scans better. But they are war games rules, so the law does say it's got to be 3 letters. So
normally the middle letter's a tiny one, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Flames of War,
yeah.
Art of de la guerre or something.
So
possibly.
I'm willing to break that rule because ADLG just scans better.
We could go all sorts of weirdness. But talking of weirdness, let's talk about actually not weird. The lunch. The weird thing is we had lunch in the venue, and it was good. It's the mirror image of the Wayland Games experience, which remember from a while ago. Anybody who's done a tournament at Wayland Games, they're still glowing in the dark. I'd prefer it if it was cold out the freezer. Burger thing. But this was
proper Sunday lunch.
I think I might have had pie, all the trimmings, all the veg.
Mm-hmm. I even had a decent pint of ale with it.
Yeah, that's the joy of me driving, I guess.
Designated driver.
Some
orange juice and lemonade, sir.
Yeah, I suppose I did. Wasn't that lovely? And in game 4,
which we were raring for. I think we were going into it top of the table.
I think we were. It was a top of the table clash. Against a Parthian and Hatrene army, and which is basically Parthians with camels, isn't it? Really?
Ah, yes.
The
cataphract camels.
The cataphract camelry or something. Yeah. And no pork pies. And I probably should have turned that picture around, but it's a little bit weird. You can lean your head to one side, but this was even for a sort of pseudo Armenian Parthian type army. Our opponents had tried something we'd not thought of at all, which was these big blocks of light horse bow.
Yeah. 2
commands with 8 light horse bow, and light horse can shoot in 2 ranks, which makes them almost decent shooters.
Yeah.
But obviously is 2 units. It's double cost. It's not cheap.
Intensive.
It's quite intensive, and they still can't really fight toe to toe as well as bow armed cavalry. And again, we had an interesting piece of terrain.
Which is that steep hill right in the middle, which is handy for us because our opponents did do the classic Parthian cataphract light horse thing, no trimmings. That they went for that. So having a steep hill in the middle of the table that we could dominate. Oh no, they had
bowmen, because this is almost a one of those kind of semi-Roman client kingdom things. So they've got some Roman Eastern archers.
So we had not only did we have a steep hill in the middle, we had someone to fight for it, so we could feed 2 commands against it.
And I think there was a very real element of thinking they probably got some of those bowmen. Maybe we even looked at the army list in advance. Do you think? No, I can't imagine that.
I did.
No. Maybe we saw them in a previous game.
Actually, I think we won the first game so quickly that we had enough time to look at the army lists while we were waiting.
Okay. So knowing that there were some bowmen in, and knowing that there was a big obvious place for bowmen to go,
let's fight them there then.
Let's put something against them that could fight them. So it was tough it out. Let's throw our Thracians at their bowmen.
And the gladiators. It was both rough.
Both our rough terrain troops in the middle. Pretty empty table. Then we'll just line up either side with cataphracts and legions and cataphracts, or possibly the other.
We went cataphracts and legions on the other side. The legions were holding the flank.
So this bit was me. I actually got the proper Roman legions this time.
You did.
Lucky me, and you got t'other guys. So I seem to have lost one of their commands, but it was cataphracts, it was light horse. We're shoving rough terrain troops onto the hill. Legions, Armenians, Parthians, other legions. It was weird that there wasn't Burton beer. It was Doombar, which is from Cornwall.
That's
a great pint.
Yeah.
Can't argue that it's a great pint, but still slightly strange. But here we go. Oh, a little bit of rough terrain. We've got in the rough terrain. High fives. All
tag, yeah.
Done deal.
Mind you, they are looking at quite a lot of cataphract camels, so that's quite a good place for them to be standing.
Place, yeah, cataphract camels, madness. So this is one of those weird things. I can never get my head around how this works. You look and you think, if I move, they move. Surely we'll get to the top first. And you never do. The other buggers are always up there.
Did you get to the top first by any chance?
No, not at all. It was always
the reign of arrow death might be coming down.
Yeah, it might well be. And what is coming over the hill? It is some bowmen. This solid, they're just a solid line. Cataphracts, proper legions. We're going to have to fight them. Let's just keep square.
Let's do it now. Do you see what you've written there? Can you say that word for me, please?
What? No one.
Say.
Carrie?
I've no idea. I've
No,
never
it could
known.
be anything. I'm not even sure whether that's one of the Carthaginian battles, is it? Or is that the one where the Romans and the Parthians...
Yeah, that's I think.
The Romans didn't manage to find a steep hill and a river to deploy between, so clearly we're better than Crassus.
Yes.
Well, and he's dead as well. So that's another big thing we've got in our favour. I don't think he could even drive, really. Probably not passed his test, so he wouldn't have even got to Burton. He would have had to leave early to catch the train. So yeah, there's the bowmen up on the hill. Here's our stuff. We're quite good at fighting bowmen, but being uphill's a +1 factor, and that's quite a lot in ADLG.
But it's the last game of the tournament,
It's the last game of the tournament.
What are you going to do, eh?
Absolutely. Surprisingly, there aren't many videos of fully armoured cataphracts roaming around at the moment. So I ended up with some skanky old Rome Total War thing, but 2,000 cataphracts, 6,000 legions. I'm sure it's interesting, but I've just stuck it in there and I've not even watched it myself.
Give it a go if you're interested.
Yeah, got
now, there's an interesting thing here. The cataphract camels, they're scary against foot because they're cataphracts and they've got all the armour and the lancey thing.
Yeah.
And they're scary against any mounted because not only are they cataphracts, but they hand out disorder to mounted troops.
What you're saying in these rules, that camels disorder other mounted troops?
They thought that through quite a long time.
They've really thought that through, haven't they? That's quite a new thing that I've...
The only thing that they're weak against is elephants.
Is that your elephant who's not close to them?
Watch and learn.
Watch and learn. Okay then. So my side, now this is almost clever.
Are you screening your main battle troops with skirmishers from the enemy bowfire?
But if you say it like that, it sounds bleedingly obvious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the subtle difference here is normally all units in Arts of the Guerre count the same towards your breakpoint. So losing a skirmisher unit is the same as losing a proper infantry unit or a proper legionary unit. So you really don't want your skirmishers killed, and they can only take 2 hits and then they're gone. These guys take 3, these guys take 4. They can only take 2. So he's already taken 1. He's at risk of death. So I'm taking a deliberate call here about saying, well, either I risk losing a unit just because they will shoot me up, but losing a unit and all that entails is probably still better than these guys who need to fight and win going in with a hit point.
So sacrifice a unit to get in solid.
Get in solid, that's it. And normally you'd be like, they've got a hit, get them out. But this time they were able to die, and they were delighted about that, I'm sure. So here we go. We're fighting in the middle. We're pushing past them here. Cataphracts, everything is just faffing around. The Armenians are starting to push the light horse back there. You're pushing the light horse
Pushing
back.
past flank of the cataphracts.
The cataphracts are the strike troops, but they're in quite a lot of trouble there, or potentially quite a lot of trouble.
Elephants on one side, other cataphracts at the front of them, and exposed flank on the other. We're looking good.
It's looking good, and here's actually, wow, they've gone a long way forward, haven't they? So your infantry have almost outdistanced your own cataphracts there.
Nothing against them to be cautious about.
And you've actually managed to you've stayed in the rough terrain. This is game 4 and we finally cracked it.
Well, sometimes you want to come out and sometimes you want to stay in. And this just seemed to be one of those times.
I guess so. Because there's not massive opposition there, but never mind. Here, someone else was on the coffee, but suddenly this light horse unit clearly found itself a bit kind of stuck, because it didn't really have an answer to these cataphracts. It was only ever going to go backwards.
Shoot arrows, it's cataphracts.
Shoot arrows, they bounce off, away you go. But here we're already in there. They've come forwards, they've charged in. The legions are fighting, which is what you want your legions doing. Up here, these guys were remarkably resilient. The bowmen had grim dice. We even did a couple of hits on them. I actually didn't lose any of these, which statistically I should have lost a couple at least.
Lucky.
But they just about survived.
But on the plus side as well, if you look slightly to the left, there's the second rough terrain command with nothing in front of it that's supporting the flank.
Apart from some charging cavalry, let's look So, chargey, shooty cavalry. So you managed to come out of the rough terrain just in time to be hit by enemy cavalry.
Yeah,
Talk me through that strategy, Adam.
What I wanted to do was bring them forwards, because it's cavalry rather than cataphracts. So bring them forwards and swamp in with numbers and take him down.
That's a fantastic. I think the technical term is post hoc justification.
No, I think you'll find it's pre-hoc plan.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Is a pre-hoc? Is that a thing?
It could well be a thing, couldn't it?
I like
no
that
idea what that is. It could be ancient India. It's all good, isn't it? So we're filming this on a whatever it is, a Wednesday night, aren't we? About getting on for about 10 o'clock. You can see which pages on this website people are finding. A lot of them come from Google and find all sorts of things from way back in the past. Someone's looking at 20mm modern figures. Same guide there.
That camel in the picture.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
That camel in the picture looks almost as effective as Burmese elephants.
Yes. Yeah. Here
Seventh.
we go. It's the old days. So here we've charged through the light troops, which you can do, which is fantastic. Speeds up the game no end. You don't have to pull them out and do all faffy around stuff. And we're in. They've taken a hit. They're uphill, +1. They've taken a hit, -1. We're at better combat factors, so this is sort of evens, but they're just a little bit more squishy than us. Here you've got some nice solid. Well, this is starting to be a bit odd.
That's cataphracts against cataphracts.
Cataphracts,
Bomb takers,
yeah.
skirmishes in front. The legions at the end, exposing cataphracts.
Yeah, the elephant's drifted across. Have you been doing the sideways slide?
I've been reading the rules. Yeah,
You've been reading the rules.
I'm doing
for it's got to happen, isn't it?
And I've managed to get him facing the cataphract camels.
Okay. He's shot some of those little funny hits. One hit.
See my plan there.
Oh, hey up. So you've actually taken the rough terrain and then come down off the hill, and
Front and flank.
that would be almost a perfect description if it was in fact this is mine. This one's in one of my part of my command.
Are you actually claiming that we cooperated at some point in this competition to try and win?
This is the picture that proves the two armies actually had some sort of synergy.
Well played,
it
us.
It really, really worked. So, yeah, they're rolling up here. We've just knocked a massive hole. The light was running, and these bowmen are just a little island of not going to
waiting
be
to die. Yeah,
waiting to die. They're big holes being knocked in them. They waited quite a long time. All ready for a flank charge. All keen. Getting these good old Zeiston figures in there again. I've only got 8 bases with the Romfear, and I think we need about 10 bases of Thracians. So some of them have got spears at the back, but they're all 200 cutting weapon.
Choppy chop time
here. And this side,
those 3 hits are looking.
Yeah, but you've got to get your legions fighting, and the other issue is these light horse have just been pushed all the way back here, which is letting
cataphracts against legions frontally could go either way. That's
But there's a
committal to a 50-50 coin.
There's a whole mass of cataphracts here that are now unengaged and are starting to chew up the side of the cataphract. So that's knocked a hole in the line. So it's a bit of a trade-off. They're not doing great, but doing much better here, and we've driven off their flanking forces. Had to squeeze in another one. Yep. Such a shame it's not taught in schools these days.
Yeah, Romans, they go in the house.
Exactly.
Now, grammar,
There's a whole generation of people who will not even understand why that's funny.
Key Stage 1 stats, the content of the writing doesn't count. The children are only judged on their ability to spell and do grammar.
But can they spell in Latin?
They might be able to go in the house.
Yeah, they're going to fail. Never mind. So we've only got 1 bowman left here. This is just our hill.
Yeah.
All good.
That just looks good, really, doesn't it?
That looks good, doesn't it? They've run away. We've chewed them up. We're rolling up the cataphracts. They can't do a lot. They're
Boom.
This is a bit of a trade-off. Maybe these are both a bit half broken. Plastic ones.
But that actually illustrates something quite handy about ADLG. See, that's my preferred acronym. That you've got to fight. You've got to make that omelette. You've got to crack the egg somewhere. It's very difficult to have that whole. I'm not going to engage unless I know I'm going to win. You know what I mean? You've got to commit to a fight somewhere along the line.
Yeah, because your skirmish troops, it's very rare that they do damage from their own shooting. It's not like failing cohesion. In fog, you can whack up enough shooting that you are going to cause cohesion tests almost half the time, maybe more often. But in this, you've got to get close to the enemy, you're doing an opposed dice roll from about -2 down, and you're only causing 1 hit on someone who can take 3 hits. That's not going to break them. In fact, all 4 games, I think we've only seen one, which is in game 3, 1 unit of proper infantry killed by or broken by skirmisher shooting. That's it. The rest of it causes a problem if it happens before 2 lines clash, giving you a -1 for being disordered.
I haven't actually trotted out my Mongols yet in ADLG, and it'll be interesting to see how effective they are. I suppose one of the reasons why I haven't is I'm a bit scared they're going to do the whole float like a butterfly and possibly sting like a butterfly.
The bow, and I don't know if they're impact as well, but the bow.
They're elite cavalry. It's elite bow impact.
Elite shoots, I think, makes quite a difference, but I think in the UK scene, we're getting a Malifaux now, aren't we? In the UK scene, people are still, or the competitions have been themed to exclude those sorts of armies so far, to keep it in the good old vanilla classical period or the high medieval. So I think over the next year or so we'll see more of those armies coming in as people learn how to use them and the theming opens up. So interesting. So here you just nearly pushed all the way past the camel fracks.
Yeah, just went through them really and keep going forwards.
And over on this side, this is where all those light horse were. They've been driven off the back. There's some spare cataphracts here.
Hitting flanks.
There's a hole that's been punched through there by the legions. So these enemy cataphracts are suddenly in a world of pain. That one, they're winning there, but here, big hole that used to be a lot of cataphracts. Over your side, yes. So did you actually manage to beat the camel fracks frontally as well?
Yes.
Yours? Wow.
Again, I've got elite cataphracts. That could have gone either way. I might
elite ones, isn't it?
I might have lost some, but it could go either way. But we had flanks, we had overlaps.
Yeah, the overlap's important.
We
both
had
sides, isn't it?
Good things going on. So
it's not a massive formation. One overlap there, one overlap there out of 4. That gives you an advantage, doesn't it? Here on the other side, that bowman's still hanging on. The Romans have been pretty chewed up there, but I suppose 1, 2, 3 left out of 5. Still chasing these guys off table, pretty much trading 1 for 1, but a big net win in the middle.
By this time of the game again, it's just let's do the trading. We're going to tuck them up quite quickly.
So another mad picture. So that's the enemy cataphracts. They've blown a hole through some Romans, and they're wondering what to do next. They don't really want to go up there into the rough terrain, but the rest of the Romans, the cataphracts, once this one's gone, you're looking at all this space with just that enemy unit in it that really matters. All of that will just be completely our cataphracts, our light horse, knocked a big hole in them there. So Romans kind of done, but the cataphracts sort of having to withdraw as well. You're really chewing up the cataphracts now. You've nailed that bit in the middle. They're still doing nothing. It's starting to be over, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they can't do anything. They're just skirmishing light horse. You've got odds and sods to round up here.
We're just looking for the change to push them over the edge now.
That's not even bothering to try and roll in. It's won frontally. It's sort of out the game. No, they look like interesting books. And that's it, isn't it? Wow. So that's actually our biggest win of the weekend.
And that is, I think that in the system does count as about as good as it gets, really.
That's about as good as it gets, yeah. That's pretty cracking. So with that, I think we won the tournament.
Surprisingly enough.
Astonishing, really. What's Hannibal got to say about that? Yeah, just all down to luck, isn't it, really?
Well, it's I think it was down to our classic tactics of lining up in a big long line and going straight forwards. Seemed surprisingly effective.
It did, but it's not just a straightforward line up and roll dice. If we look at some of these other maps, there's movement, the commands are doing different things. Once they've beaten their frontal opponents, they are engaging with the other commands. Yeah. And I think as a doubles game, having 3 commands each, I felt that worked really, really well as a system.
Yeah, it's because you get a full game each. Now you're still going to get some double partners where you've got the bloke that's in charge, that's doing all the interesting stuff with 5 commands here, and his mate gets to wait to be told what to do with his 1 command.
In the rules, though, in the doubles rules, you're supposed to take 3 commands each. So, and they're all going to be pretty equal sized. It's difficult to give someone all the toys, whereas in a unit-based game that doesn't have commands, or even a command-based game, it can be a bit more lopsided. But I think the other players seem to like it. It seemed to work. There's a couple of little kinks to
which
iron
is
out.
fair enough. But everybody that I spoke to, and there was only what, 6
I think
teams?
there's 6 of us. Yeah.
6 teams, so 12 people. Everyone was saying that was brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
Good. Fantastic.
Everyone enjoyed the competition.
Super. Well, thanks for coming over. Thanks for coming to Curry.
Always a pleasure.
We've covered quite a lot of food. We've covered quite a lot of games.
Hope the listeners enjoyed hearing about our experiences with ADLG.
Yeah, hopefully some of them might even have listened to the end of one of these. Depends whether it's audio or video podcasts. There'll be information coming up either on screen or on the podcast thing about where to see these reports online, but clearly they're on Madaxeman.com. Also, if you've enjoyed these reports,
Let me say that again, that's Madaxeman.com.
That's very good. You've learnt it. If you've enjoyed these reports and you see anything in this sidebar that you want to buy,
Ka-ching.
Ka-ching, click and buy it. That's the way this site works. And other than that, thank you very much.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Good night.